He ruled Italy with fear, force, and fiery speeches. But in the end, Benito Mussolini died running for his life. Once one of the most powerful men in Europe, the founder of fascism led his country into war, chaos, and collapse. By 1945, the dictator who once stood side by side with Hitler was desperately trying to escape. But Italian partisans caught him, and what happened next shocked the world. Benito Mussolini was one of the most powerful and feared leaders of the 20th century. As the founder of fascism and the dictator of Italy from 1922 to 1943, he ruled with strong control, using propaganda, violence, and nationalism to stay in power. He allied with Nazi Germany during World War II, leading Italy into chaos and destruction. By 1943, Mussolini was losing control. The war was going badly for Italy, and many Italians turned against him. He was removed from power and arrested. Later, with help from the Germans, he tried to escape to Switzerland with his mistress, Claretta Petacci. But on April 27, 1945, he was captured by Italian partisans. The next day, Mussolini and Petacci were executed by firing squad. Their bodies were then hung upside down in a public square in Milan. The display shocked the world and sent a clear message. Fascism had fallen in Italy. For most people, that was the end of Mussolini's story. But for his family, especially his children, it was just the beginning of a much different kind of struggle. With their father gone and his name hated, they were left to face the world alone. Benito Mussolini had 5 children with his wife, Rachele Mussolini. Their names were Edda, Vittorio, Bruno, Romano, and Anna Maria. Each of them lived through the rise of fascism, the fall of their father, and the difficult years that followed. Though some tried to stay in the background, others became well-known figures in Italy's public life. Edda Mussolini was the oldest and perhaps the most famous. She was married to Count Galeazzo Ciano, Italy's foreign minister during World War II. Edda was strong-willed and outspoken. She supported her father for years, but things changed when Mussolini had her husband executed for treason in 1944. After that, she became bitter and angry toward her father's legacy. Vittorio Mussolini was involved in propaganda and filmmaking. He worked closely with the fascist regime, writing scripts and promoting fascist ideals through cinema. After the war, he tried to reinvent himself but was always tied to his past. Bruno Mussolini, a pilot in the Italian Air Force, died in 1941 in a plane crash. His death was used in fascist propaganda, and Mussolini was said to be deeply affected. Romano Mussolini, the youngest son, took a very different path. He became a jazz musician and stayed away from politics for most of his life. He later married Maria Ciccoloni, Sophia Loren's sister, and had a daughter named Alessandra Mussolini. Anna Maria, the most private of the siblings, kept a low profile throughout her life and never played a public role. Each of Mussolini's children had a unique life, but they all shared one thing: the heavy burden of carrying a name tied to one of history's most controversial leaders. After Mussolini was executed in 1945, his family faced a harsh and uncertain future. His name was hated across Italy. Many people wanted revenge, not just against him, but also against those closest to him, including his children. Suddenly, the Mussolini family was no longer powerful or protected. They were targets. Edda Mussolini fled to Switzerland with her young son. She carried with her a copy of her husband Galeazzo Ciano's secret diaries, which contained detailed accounts of fascist Italy's inner workings. These diaries were valuable and dangerous. She hoped to use them to protect herself. Swiss authorities eventually arrested her and returned her to Italy, where she was imprisoned for nearly 2 years. She was later released but remained a controversial figure. Vittorio Mussolini, who had worked closely with the fascist regime, was also arrested. However, he avoided major prison time. Like many former fascists, he claimed to have played only a minor role and tried to downplay his involvement. Romano Mussolini and Anna Maria were still young and had not been directly involved in politics. They stayed out of the spotlight, though their family name made life difficult. Opportunities disappeared, and people treated them with suspicion or anger. Rachele Mussolini, Benito's widow, was arrested by U.S. troops and held for several months. After her release, she returned to her hometown and lived a simple life, eventually opening a small restaurant. She remained loyal to her husband's memory for the rest of her life. During these years, the Mussolini family lived in fear, isolation, and poverty. They were watched closely, and many Italians saw them as symbols of a terrible past. Some friends abandoned them, and the press followed their every move. The immediate aftermath of Mussolini's death wasn't just a fall from power. It was a complete collapse of the world they had known. For the children, it marked the beginning of decades spent trying to find new lives while carrying the weight of their last name. In the years following Mussolini's death, his children faced not only personal grief, but also serious political and legal challenges. Italy was trying to rebuild itself as a democratic country, and anything connected to fascism came under heavy scrutiny. That included the Mussolini family. Edda Mussolini remained one of the most controversial figures. Her connection to her father and her husband's execution made her a complex character in post-war Italy. After serving time in prison, she struggled to rebuild her life. Her possession of Ciano's diaries made her both valuable and dangerous. Eventually, the diaries were published, offering a rare look inside the fascist regime. Though some saw this as an important contribution to history, others accused her of trying to rewrite the past. Vittorio Mussolini also tried to stay active in public life, but it wasn't easy. He faced restrictions on his activities and was under constant watch. He continued writing and even produced a few books, but his past as a fascist film producer haunted him. Romano Mussolini, meanwhile, managed to stay out of legal trouble by focusing on music. Jazz, oddly enough, had been frowned upon during the fascist era, so his career choice helped distance him from his family's past. Still, being a Mussolini in post-war Italy meant living under a microscope. The family also faced legal battles over property and inheritance. Many of their assets had been seized by the state. Attempts to reclaim these were mostly unsuccessful, as courts and the public were firmly against anything that looked like a return of fascist privilege. Throughout this time, the Mussolini children were caught between two worlds. One that hated their name, and another that couldn't quite forget who they were. As the years went on, Mussolini's children tried to move forward in different ways. Some wanted to stay out of the spotlight, while others chose to speak out or redefine themselves. But none of them could fully escape their father's shadow. Edda Mussolini, strong and defiant as ever, eventually wrote a memoir. In it, she spoke honestly about her life, her marriage, and her father. She didn't shy away from criticism, but she also didn't fully reject her past. Edda remained a complex figure, both admired and disliked. She lived out her later years quietly in Rome and passed away in 1995. Vittorio Mussolini stayed active in writing and film. He published books and tried to explain his version of history, often defending his father. He struggled to gain much respect outside of far-right circles, but he remained proud of his family name until his death in 1997. Romano Mussolini took a different path. He focused fully on music and became one of Italy's most respected jazz pianists. Audiences praised his talent, and he mostly avoided political questions. Though he rarely spoke about his father, he did write a book later in life reflecting on his memories of Benito Mussolini as a parent, not a dictator. He passed away in 2006. Anna Maria, the most private of the siblings, stayed out of the public eye almost completely. Very little is known about her life, and she never gave public statements. In their own ways, each child tried to build a life after fascism. Some embraced history, others avoided it, but none of them ever truly escaped it. The Mussolini name opened some doors and slammed others shut. Reinvention was possible, but forgetting was not. Even decades after Benito Mussolini's death, his family continues to be part of Italy's political and cultural conversation, especially through his descendants. The most well-known today is Alessandra Mussolini, daughter of Romano Mussolini and granddaughter of Benito. A former actress and model, she later entered politics. She served as a member of the European Parliament and has been part of several right-wing political parties in Italy. Alessandra has defended her grandfather publicly, which has sparked both support and outrage. While she claims to support democracy, her name and views keep her in the middle of public debate. Alessandra's presence in politics shows that the Mussolini legacy is still alive and still controversial. Some Italians see her as a modern woman with strong opinions. Others see her as someone trying to clean up or revive the image of a dictator. Her career has forced Italy to face its past again and again. Outside of Alessandra, most of the Mussolini descendants live private lives. Some have changed their last names. Others have stayed silent to avoid public attention. In Italy today, Benito Mussolini remains a deeply divisive figure. Some still admire him, while most remember the damage he caused. His family reflects that same division, caught between memory, identity, and politics. The story of Mussolini's children and grandchildren is more than just a look at history. It's a reminder of how deeply the past can shape the present, and how a name, even generations later, can carry the weight of an entire nation's struggle. If you found this story interesting, make sure to like and follow for more videos that uncover the hidden sides of history.